Welcome back. It appears that the district is doing a pretty good job providing homeless families a place to stay without having to rely on DC General, which everyone agrees is an unsuitable place for children. But if you saw the recent Washington Post page 1 story called A Hidden World, you know that life in a cramped hotel room is no picnic. Reporter Deneen Brown wrote the story, and she joins us now. Welcome. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thanks very
much.
much.
Good to be here.
It's great having you here in the studio. Your story was on the top of page 1 of the actual paper, and that's where it belonged, because the challenge of being a homeless family, whether you're in a place like DC General, which is widely discredited as I mean, it's better than being in the street, but bringing huge problems and challenges and areas of concern, or in one of these hotel rooms that the district is providing to families with no place else to go. The challenge of being a homeless family, a mom or a mom and a dad and one or more kids, huge obstacle, hurdle to overcome.
Yes. Well, the assignment that I had was to write about what it felt like to live in one of those motel rooms. The district has about 12 motel rooms that it uses to place homeless families. There are about 1,300 children living in these motel rooms and about 750 families. And my assignment was to go in, see what it's like to live in one room for months at a time. And the mothers that I talked to describe conditions. I mean, they're really thankful that they're not on the street, they're not sleeping in cars, they have a safe place to lay their heads. But it's a small place, and after a while, one mom told me, you can get a little crazy.
Describe some of what they related to you in terms of the challenge of day-to-day living, the mornings, the middays, the evenings, getting up in the morning and starting the whole thing over again. What's that like? Well,
I spent time with a mother who has 4 children, so she's living in one hotel room. There's no cooking facilities. They have to have breakfast in the hotel lobby. There are no places for the children to play. So if the children get antsy, which they do, she has to dress all of them and run them around the balcony or kind of run them around the sidewalks to give them a chance to get outside. Getting her daughter to school, it took 2 hours, taking 2 buses across town to take her to school, and then getting back for 2 hours and putting the other children to sleep for nap, and then going back to pick up her daughter. So that's a real challenge.
Was it primarily the one family, the one mom and kids that you talked with to get this, to sort of use them as like the one family that gives you the feel for what all these families go through?
Yeah, I mean, the idea was to do a deep dive feature story into the life of one family, to see what that family had to endure in these motel rooms. And then I talked to a few other moms, but I didn't roam the property and talk to like hundreds of people living there.
How hard was it to find someone to trust you with their story? Because it's, you know, at some level she's probably proud that she's, you know, delighted that she has the kids, happy that they're not out in the street somewhere.
Right.
But it's still a tough existence. How did you go about establishing a bond where that story could be told faithfully and not exploitatively?
Yeah, I met her one night as she was walking to the store, and I introduced myself as a reporter. And I said I wanted to tell the story of what it felt like to live in one of these hotel rooms. And she felt that it was important to get the story out. She thinks that it will help other families and put a face on homelessness. I mean, she's a very intelligent mom, trying her best to raise her kids in dire circumstances.
And she's how old?
25.
And her kids are?
5, 3, 1, and she had a little infant baby who's about 7 weeks now.
And so you know what people watching this interview are wondering.
Yes.
How did she, you know, to have 4 kids so young, are dads in the, is there a dad in the picture?
Yes, the father of the 3 youngest children helps to buy food and Pampers. Yes, she says that he tries to provide as much support as possible.
But it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot she's taken on by having 4 kids at 25
Right.
with maybe a challenging financial circumstance?
Yes.
Did you get into that? As difficult as its conversation as that is, it's what people at home watching this are wondering, so I'll ask. Did you talk about it, and what
I
was
asked her that question, and she said that life happens. I mean, she thought she was stable, and then suddenly she was unstable. She didn't plan for this, to be in a motel room. It's nothing somebody plans for, but she's trying to do the best she can in the circumstances that she finds herself in now.
The city turned to the hotel option because the D.C. general situation was fraught with
Right.
issues. It's just not
Right.
no one's idea of proper.
Right. The mayor has pledged to close D.C. General. We've done a lot of reporting on the conditions there, which were really, really bad. It's a place where Relisha Rudd lived before she disappeared. Residents there said that there were raccoons and problems with insects and rodents and all kinds of different situations that they wouldn't want their children to be in. So the mayor has pledged to close D.C. General, and putting families in motel rooms is part of the plan to try to give them a safe place so that officials can then move them into permanent housing.
When she thinks about the future, and to the extent that you glean from other moms what their sort of ambitions are, where they,
Right.
what they would like to do, how they see themselves in 5 years, that classic question, where do you hope to be in 5 years? Did you get a feel for some of that?
Yeah, I mean, she has the same hopes and dreams that other mothers have for their children. When I talked with her last week, she was trying to find the best school for her children. I mean, she has a dream of living in a house with a white picket fence and working and running her own business. She's a very intelligent woman. I'm sure she'll reach her dreams. Just needs a little help at this point.
And they're there with other families, and as you say, playing is not going to the playground. These
Right.
are these hotels all on Route 50? Are they? I mean, New York Avenue, I should say.
Well, the hotel that I spent time at is on New York Avenue near Bladensburg Road, but there are hotels across the city. I don't have the names of all the hotels where the city has placed families.
But they're not. They're kind of not ideal. I mean,
Right.
there's not a playground that I can think of that's
No
there.
playground.
So playing is the parking lot or the balcony, and
The parking
there's
lot.
no kitchen. So the food is you described something happening in the lobby where they have meals.
Yeah, they have breakfast in the lobby. They have lunch and dinner in a banquet room. Yeah, it's not ideal. I mean, it's a good place for a vacation if you're there for a short time, but
Sightseeing
not
and all.
right, but not living for months at a time, and sometimes as long as a year.
What sort of bond did you get a feel for whatever sort of bond the families might have with one another as they all go through a kind of a shared experience that they hope is a springboard to something just better?
Yeah, I think they share stories of how they're trying to get out, how they're trying to find permanent housing, how they're trying to find jobs. They talk about there is a shared experience living in a cramped space. Their police are called to the hotel often, but they try to stay away from certain people and hang out with people they trust.
The logistics of trying to go to work, you mentioned how difficult it is in terms of the logistics of transit for the mom to get her, I guess, oldest to school.
Yes.
Just how long that is.
Right.
One can only imagine what the process of getting to work would be like, or getting
Right.
to classes, or
Right.
job training, or anything that would be the path to a better life that, as you indicated, she and folks like her are envisioning, that they're hoping for, that they're striving
Yes.
to pursue.
Yes, it's really difficult getting around on buses and getting downtown and finding childcare. That's an issue that some of the moms are having.
Is the city helpful in terms of some of this other stuff?
I think they're trying to provide services for the families, but it's the distance that is a problem for some of the families. Some of the moms told me just getting their children to school in Southeast and then getting back to the motel and then going back to pick them up takes a big chunk of the day away from them. So it's hard to do other things
It would have to be very time-consuming.
Yes.
The story in the Washington Post is called A Hidden World. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more News Talk, more of our conversation with reporter Deneen Brown. Of course, we're online as well. As always, our blog is news8newstalk.com. Keep it here. We're back in a moment.